Hello, what's going on, everybody? Here today with my man Connell Spain at the In Da Kutt Podcast. Now, before going any further, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment down below. As again, I said, we have the national champ, Florida State Seminole in the flesh, baby. 1993 nose champion, Connell Spain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Thank you, man. Thanks for coming through to the In Da Kutt Podcast, bro.
Absolutely, man. Wouldn't change it for the world. And certainly, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, bro.
We've been knowing each
My
other
honor,
a long
bro.
time. Yeah. We've been knowing each other a long time. And, I said, you know what? I got to be here for my brother.
My brother.
And, being that we both love Florida State.
Love forever,
man,
baby.
What it's just a beautiful season right now.
But talk about it.
Beautiful season.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Spain, sir. Tell them I know about you, but tell the people at home a little bit about yourself.
Right. So my name is Connell Spain. I'm originally from Melbourne, Florida. Grew up in Melbourne, Florida. Became an All-American football player. My whole family's from Melbourne, Florida. Became an All-American football player at Melbourne High School. Was able to be picked up on full scholarship to Florida State back in the 90s when, it was real tough. You had to be real good to get a scholarship to any one of the, big three schools in Florida. That would be, Florida State, Miami, or Florida at that time. So
that's before all the other schools like UCF, and FAU,
the baby school.
Now, they've been doing it for a while. They ain't won that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad. I digress.
Yeah. We called them our baby brother schools, but So I was, able to get picked up on scholarship, through hard work and dedication, and end up on the '93 national championship team with the likes of Charlie Ward and Derek Brooks and Tamari Vanover, Warwick Dunn.
Yes, sir.
I can go on and on. Played with Walter Jones, who's now in the Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
Peter Boulware. Renard Wilson.
Hall of Fame.
Andre Wadsworth. I'm going to stop right there.
You got me happy. Boy, you got me happy, boy. Talk about it.
I'm going to stop right there, man. But, that was the heyday of Florida State. We kind of say our house that's up there now, we certainly helped build.
You built that house.
And
that's right.
Every time I go up there, I get to see my name etched in iron on the side of the stadium forever. So my grandbabies will forever see they'll pop up, on the side of the stadium.
Absolutely.
So, it was a blessing, man. And I played there from '92 to '96. And I had, 4 great years there. And I actually played in 2 national championships, one in '93, which we won against Nebraska, and one in '96, which we lost to, those little lizards up north.
I know.
Gainesville.
I wasn't going to mention that, man. I wasn't talk about it, but yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people going to give me grief, boy, because I talk about the Gators like, did I say it? The Gators. Right. They give me grief.
So,
go ahead,
it's already hard to, get in one championship and win it. But, just to look at it, man, I played in 2 of them. But,
2 of them, bro.
But, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm a forever national champion, man.
Forever.
And it feels doggone good. And, you don't really think about it until you start getting older. And people say, man, you was on those teams in the 90s and this. And I'm like, man,
don't seem like 30 years.
We just had our 30-year reunion this last weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And so I got picked up by the Chargers after that for a short stint, and then played arena football for 7 years.
Champs there too.
Yeah,
you champ there too.
1998 champion with Jay Gruden and all the guys. Barry Wagner. I can go on and on with that. B-Wag, good guy.
Yeah.
And
one of my friends, Reggie, man, he played.
Oh yeah, Reggie was my good friend,
man.
and
yeah,
that was tough. I actually spoke at Reggie's funeral, and he was a
good dude,
good guy. We hung out every
man.
day.
Yeah, I remember y'all was like thick as thieves, bro.
Thick as thieves, man.
Yeah,
and
man.
So that
big shout out to you, Reg.
Yeah, love you, man.
Yeah, love
always.
you, man. Yeah, for real.
So yeah, that was that definitely hurt. But he'll forever be remembered. Definitely as a champion as well. So we did it together, and and so after that, man, I left football and finished up playing football, and as crazy as it sounds, I got into acting. And my very, very first movie was Any Given Sunday with Al Pacino, Jamie Foxx, Bill Bellamy, and the movie did absolutely well.
I know you
Still
got
to this
some-
day, it's still playing.
I know you got some good behind the scenes
Yeah,
stories, man.
I was
Tell
actually
me
one of the
man.
casted football players in the movie, so I actually got credits in there. And you know, everybody always asks me, "Were you there in that scene where LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx was fighting?" I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I was right there, right there."
Yeah.
So it was you know. Well, anytime you got competitors, no matter if you're an actor, whatever the case may be, man, it's sometimes you're gonna get that. But over the years they made up and respect the, I'm sure they got a lot of love and respect for each other. So
It's probably like the heat of the battle, just like when you're on the field playing against a team that you may not necessarily hate, but don't have like or respect for. You just kind of lose it sometimes like that, huh?
yeah, so it's like, and even when when I was playing at Florida State, it's kind of like, a lot of the guys, whether it was from Florida or Miami, we all knew each other.
Right.
We all either played against each other in high school or
Yeah.
all-star games or whatever the case may be. We all had it was a different type of battle. It was like, it was personal, but yet, it was
Stayed on the gridiron.
It stayed on it stayed between the lines. So it was
Yeah.
kind of, one of them situations where you definitely want to beat your friend.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
bragging rights.
Kenny Holmes is like one of my best friends. He was actually the best man at my funeral. My wedding.
Right.
And he ended up, like we're just best friends to this day. So it was kind of like, I always wanted to beat him.
Well, what inspired you to even play football, though? Because was you always like just a bigger dude that you knew you want to be tearing up people on the defensive line? What it is,
You
bro?
know what's so crazy is like when I was young, I never could play the Little League football because I was always overweight, right?
Right.
So when I got to junior high school, I told myself, then that was 7th grade. I said, well, when I get to junior high school, boy, it's gonna be some heads rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if I just kept that anger in me because they wouldn't allow me to play football when I was young.
Yeah.
But it just stuck. And from 7th grade all the way, man, until I was 30 years old, about 30 years old, I played football.
Right.
And
Right.
And so when I was small, I never could, but I always used to go out there and watch my other friends. And
So because you was too big for that age group, you just couldn't play.
I couldn't play at all.
None.
Because back then it was a weight thing.
Okay. Okay.
So they wouldn't allow me to play at all.
Oh,
so I
dang.
was very disturbed.
Motivation
by that.
there,
Yeah,
bro.
it was motivation, man.
Yeah.
It was definitely motivation. So I just became great at it, man. I used to sit in front of the TV, a little child with my Dallas Cowboy hat on, helmet on, and just
Not the Cowboys.
throw it around my head because it was too big.
Yeah.
And end up to the day, I actually like Baltimore Ravens more than that, but I grew up liking the Cowboys.
Boys
but,
winning right now.
Yeah.
The boys
so,
winning. Can you give us some insight into like a role model or somebody who kind of like fostered your desires or molded you or guided you? Like, did you have a particular role model growing up to help push you?
Yeah, my mom. My mom. When I looked at her every day, before my stepfather came in the picture, she worked 2 and 3 jobs. We live in the hood, but you would never know it. We always had nice clothes. She always had a car. We always had food on the table, whether it was TV dinners or whatever the case may be.
Still something to eat.
Still something on that. We
right.
never went hungry. So I admire her. Even with 30-something years that she worked at the nursing home, she probably missed 2 or 3 days in 30-something years, man.
Wow.
And she just went out and she enjoyed what she did. So I was able to, at a young age, see that.
Work ethic.
The work ethic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people see me now, and they probably ask me where I get it from.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stems from her,
Yeah.
And so I'm always doing something. I'm always into something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just just one of those things, man. My mom is she's awesome, man. And to this day, the things have changed where I get to take care of her now.
Yeah.
So it's a
Feel
blessing.
good, don't it, man?
It's,
I know, because like my mom, she's older now, and I be want to do things, but
Yeah.
you can't do but so much.
Yeah.
But when you can do whatever you can,
Yeah.
it make you feel good.
oh man, it's a blessing,
Make you
man.
feel good.
Yeah, sure.
So what's some things that between football and acting that you see similarities in?
I think when you think about that's a great question. When you think about acting, acting is more. It can be delivery. It can be remembrance of lines, right?
Right.
but it's still a team atmosphere in terms of making a whole film.
Right.
Because you have to do your part.
Play your part.
You have to play that part exceptionally well for that scene or that movie to make itself make sense.
Right.
And so football is a lot like that. It's either remembering plays, remembering different stunts, being a team player. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it parallels itself. And at a young, after football. I would say even before I stopped playing football, I just got a knack for it. Like, I just started looking at movies and things different, and I said, man, I can do that.
Yeah.
Because I was just a natural. I just like to always crack jokes all the time.
Yeah, you're quite the funny guy. Yeah. I tell you that now. We've been rolling for some years, but I tell you the truth.
So it's kind of like, I just kind of, when I fell into it, I got the bug, you know. But I would say, and when you're thinking about a head coach, you're thinking about the director.
Okay.
So it's all about.
So each person is like a member of the team.
It's like a member of the team. You got your head coach, you have your assistant coordinators, assistant coaches, and no different than the setup of the hierarchy in terms of the acting world. So for me, I've worked with a lot, some different folks. I've worked with. I did a little work on the Ballers with The Rock, and I just let them know, what time it was with FSU.
That's right. I bet you did. Keep them nose going. That's right, baby.
Know what time it was.
That's what it is.
But I've dabbled into the security. I did executive protection for a while. Yeah. With a lot of entertainers, athletes, and politicians, and things of that nature. And so I've done a lot. I want to go back to college too. I did get my degree in criminal justice, and I also have a master's degree in business. So for all the youngsters out there, it's not all about chasing the money, and just find you a solid foundation. And I always thought having my degrees put me in the room with some different people, whether I used them or not. That's right. Mm-hmm. So I don't take them for granted because I earned them. Right. So I wanted to touch base on that and make sure that the world know that with all that comes, you definitely got to have your educational foundation that's attached to you in some form or fashion. Yeah. So you have an MBA. Tell us about your first business venture that you came up with. I'll go back to when I was young, and then I'll come back up just a little bit. But when I was young, my very first job is actually what I just bought a business doing it, which is lawn care. So my wife and I just bought a lawn care service that has over 300 accounts. Wow. And but my very first job actually, at a young age, I think I was under 10 at the time, and me and my buddy was in our neighborhood, and somebody let us borrow they mower, a little push mower. And man, we used to go out and charge people $5 just to cut their yard. And that's the 80s, man, I'm telling you, man. Ain't $5 now. Yeah, oh no, definitely ain't $500. Hey, talk about it. Yeah, so that was my first job is mowing lawns, and then and so that was one of the things that kind of pushed me young minded. I always had it in me. It's just that football took me in a different direction, and then I came back to it. Yeah, sometimes you take I-4, sometimes you take Colonial. Yeah, you're right. I got it. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. I got you, for real. All right, well, that's cool. So then you came up with your next adult businesses. Yeah, so that was the one after my first one was actually when I was playing for the Predators. I had a cell phone store here and I remember out I forgot Maitland area, and did that for a little while, and then moved up north after that, and I started my security business, and so I was doing security for different folks, working with different companies, doing that, and so after that I jumped into credit repair. Yeah. We'll talk about that for days, bro. So was working with some folks up north, and then ended up learning the game, and started doing that and just helping people, man. I love helping people because I know what it is to be in the 400s. Well, see, that's the thing that we don't really get taught a lot in our community is about maintaining and keeping good credit to get things that you want. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we don't even know about a credit score because when I went to FAM,
Man, them people giving out the free credit cards with the Sprint name on all that stuff.
Man.
I went there and spent that thing about 2 weeks. I didn't know you had to pay it back.
Right.
So then when you go later on and it's still on your credit report, you wonder why you're looking at $393 or something. You know, you're like, well, what happened? I ain't even did nothing. You know what I mean?
But that late payment staring you right in your face. Yeah.
So you went into that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you know, and that also happened to me. You know, being in college, getting credit cards. And at a young age, like you say, we don't get that type of conversation in our homes at a young age, especially in the 80s and 90s. I mean, I never got it. You know, I know that I see us moving from this to this, you know, and we moving up in the world. Right. But far as, you know, understanding how do you get there, we never got those conversations. So in terms of us, I don't like to say, we're a lot further behind, but we are catching up. Because there is a lot of people out there that's starting to understand credit, business funding, so forth and so on. So we are catching up.
This episode of In Da Kutt Podcast is brought to you by The Boss Move, your content concierge.
You know, I always believe in entrepreneurship. I certainly don't knock anybody who, you know, is doing the 9 to 5. That's, you know, because to each his own, and everybody has to feel their own happiness. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And but my goal is to always encourage and educate of how we can do better as a people.
And that's your Spain Financial Consulting Group. 850
Financial Group.
850.
And I also have the Spain Group, which we concentrate on government, local and state contracts, whether it be facility management, janitorial, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then I have Green Gurus, DBA Batter Up, which we service a lot of Brevard clients in terms of lawn care, lawn services, and things of that nature. And we now have, in about 2 months, we should have our first group home open, which is it's called the Star House, which stands for Spain's Kids. Spain's Kids Always Rise.
Spain's Kids Always Rise.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you speaking about group homes, it had to be a big change in emotions and feelings to go from a stadium full of people hollering and screaming for you to all of a sudden just no longer dealing with it, no longer experiencing it. It's got to almost be deafening. That's the silence and the difference between the sword and the roar of the crowd to not touching that football again. How does that affect athletes? You know, when they come out of that and all that adrenaline rush, how do you feel that, and what emotional pain or different feelings have you experienced since your absence, and how did you deal with those things?
Well, what a great question, because, you know, I had this, we did a panel, Charlie Ward and I and a few other guys up in Tallahassee for the spring game this year. And that was part of the questions, like how do you, the transition from all of that, you know, being 0 to 100 for 5 years and then going down to 0.
Yeah.
You know, there's no blueprint, there's no Bible, there's no nothing to say this is how you're supposed to react, this is what you're supposed to do. It's just gone.
That's it.
It's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. So we know nothing else. You know, as sad as it sounds, it's different nowadays because they have the NIL, right? So they can get paid and
ain't
football.
Never play again.
In football back then, it was just totally different. Right. You know, so for me, it was, you know, it was tough. You know, it was like a bad marriage. I hated football for a long time. I couldn't watch it. And these are stories that not only myself will tell you, but if you sat down with a lot of athletes, you'll hear them say the same thing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it's very prevalent, right? So I was telling, when I was in Tallahassee, I was saying how deep of a depression I was in, and I really didn't know it.
Wow.
Because I went from smiling all the time to trying to find a smile.
Wow.
And it was one of them situations where one night I found myself in front of a church with a 45 in my hand, in my lap, trying to coward myself out.
Right.
And I'm glad that night I was actually a coward, because, you know, I wouldn't be here to tell these stories, right?
Yeah, for real, bro. Thank you for not doing it.
It's you know, that's truth, and that's the effects of you know, leaving something or parting ways with something you love so much.
Called a bad marriage.
It's a bad marriage, and obviously we know that, you know, even with marriage, you know, things happen like that. People don't want to be here no more.
Right.
And I couldn't even fathom. Like, it took me years to tell my mom about that.
Wow.
And because I just kept it in, and a lot of my problem is keeping all of that stuff bundled up in me, and afraid to talk to my brother about my situation, because you don't know if my brother gonna keep my situation
to himself,
to our situation.
Yeah,
you know. So
I can feel that.
It's like, and then it's like you don't want people to see you doing this or see you working this type of job, because they only have one vision of you. Champ.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a tough road, because it's like, man, I don't want, it's like, where you gonna go if people don't know you? Like, everybody, you know, I go pretty much anywhere and people know me, not because I'm, you know, Jamie Foxx, but just because, you know, eventually somebody gonna know who you are. Right. You know, I can pretty much go anywhere in the United States, minus South Dakota and North Dakota and places like that, and they gonna know me, you know. So, but it was a real tough transition for me, and it was part of it because I kept everything in, part of it because I allowed my ego to get in the way, and thirdly, I had no vision after football. I didn't have a game plan.
So you think that the sports leagues that you were a part of, do you feel they do enough to prepare players for the end of their careers, within it, or along with mental health, making sure that your mental is right when you're playing these games or not playing these games? Or is it just kind of brushed under the rug, like you don't really get much attention to it because you're supposed to be this big, strong dude that can take on anything type stuff?
Well, I think in a sense it's the latter. I think maybe nowadays they have a little bit more for these guys to you know, to direct themselves to. But I know a lot of us, I know a lot of guys that I played with ended up on drugs, jail, dead. You know, and some of it came from being, you know, so depressed, like they just didn't care. I know one of my old teammates told me he started robbing people and all of this good stuff, and he didn't care about dying or nothing. Wow. So they didn't know then, basically. They basically know. Wow. And so it's one of the, and so partly what I was telling the group up at Tallahassee is we have to find a way to not look at us as running up and down the field as a way of winning, but actually get with us and not always look for an autograph to sign, but show us a way that we can sign on buildings and duplexes and houses and things that have value, right? Like, autographs are fine, but that's just an autograph. What can I do to build my family life up like you have built your family life? How can I own a McDonald's like you own a McDonald's? You have to show me that, because we don't know that like that. Just know football. Right, we just know football. Or that's basketball. Not fair to us, you know what I'm saying? That's not fair to us because we don't know the know. Right. You know, and so that's when I look back at it, I'm like, man, the times have definitely changed in terms of, you know, having NIL money, because a lot of these kids, man, they into the millions, so they can go out and purchase. Yeah, they don't really, you know, it's a different sense. So it's, you know, they out here, you know, Shadur Sanders with the watch and all that good stuff, and that's great. Yeah. But I just hope that they understand that if you don't save, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. Yeah. Period. Straight up. Well, you say you have a group home gear to open up, and that seems to be one of your passions, because you talked about it off the camera, and I pretty much when I talk to you all the time, you're talking about getting those group homes going. What is the meaning or the onus for you to be so involved and so passionate about providing group homes for underprivileged or at-risk youth and mentally challenged and need help with this, that, and that? Where does that come from in you? Right. So the Star House, and I want to go back and say the Star House stands for Spain's Teens Always Rise, right? Okay. So, but my wife and I, our whole biggest thing is being able to give back, right? And in that, now we're able to show these kids, you know, what credit looked like, what the whole dynamic, some of the things we didn't get, right? Right. So, loving on these kids, showing them being able to call some of the people I know, big law offices or big people in L3 Harris or whatever the case may be, and get these young kids in front of these kids. I don't, because they just need the exposure.
Just to see it.
They just need to see it.
Yeah, man.
Because you never know if they're going to be building a rocket or, it could change their whole concept. If they're never around that,
then
how you expect for these kids? How you
exactly.
A lot of people say, well, what do you want to be? A doctor,
a lawyer, and
that's fine,
right?
But what have you done to expose them to being that actual doctor or lawyer?
Like putting the type of programs in schools to help these kids see it, field trips. I mean, come talk to them. I mean, all of them.
That's what
things.
I'm saying. So that's part of the plan, is to actually have people on that level to give me some of their time, so that they can give my kids in our group home some of that time to really, because a lot of them don't have no direction. A lot of them don't have parents. A lot of them don't have any of those things, and because of that, we become the parents. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to be a part of this, and I'm going to be feeling like I'm your parent, then I'm going to treat you like you're my son or you're my daughter. And I'm going to expose you and give you every avenue to succeed that you can possibly imagine. And when I see you walk across that stage, or you go into the Army or Navy or whatever the case may be, man, we just won. We just won another national championship.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We just won another. Every time that we can save one of these kids, we have won another national championship.
Every time.
And that feeling is forever. Like, I look at winning the national championship, I get goosebumps sometimes,
I get it for you.
Yeah. I'm in my media room and I'm looking around. I'm like, wow, man, right on from little old Melbourne, Florida, you know? So these kids are going to be exposed to some great. I'm able to take them to football games, take them to the sideline, take them in the locker room. Oh man, the smile is going to be on their face.
Yeah, just being able to experience it.
It's going to be unbelievable. So I'm just super excited about that whole thing about with these kids. A lot of people, son, the truth of the matter is, sometimes people do it for money, right? I'm good. I'm okay.
Right.
God allowed me to bounce back in the most heavy way.
Right.
So, but we're doing this because our soul told us to do this.
I know that's right. Well, if you had anything that you want to tell the younger athletes out there today, or the first-time entrepreneurs, or just anyone dealing with trying to open a business or become an athlete and become really good at it, or trying to get scholarships, what are some advice or tips that you would give them to help them along the way?
Right. I'm going to give you some real advice. One, obviously, is grades, right? Because all those coaches and all the director, player, personnel, director, they're gonna come in. They're gonna talk to you. Your character has to be A1. Mm. They're gonna come in. They're gonna ask about you. They're gonna ask about your character. How is he as a teammate?
Right.
What type of work ethic does he have? He or she has.
Right.
And so that's gonna be very important. 2, pull up your pants.
Sure. Talk about that.
Pull up your pants, right?
Presentation.
Presentation and the first eyesight of you, that's going to carry yourself a long way.
Well, they say you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right, and no matter how good you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. No matter how good you are. Don't let nobody out here tell you what I'm telling you is fake. Because I would love to have a conversation with anybody, because I done been there and I know what they look for. I done seen it, and I done seen people lose scholarships because of their character, their grades, and they want to look like where they come from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You can't do that. Once you get to that another level, you have to do different things. You can't look like your homeboys no more.
Right.
Homegirls.
Can't be around them either.
You can't do it.
But see, that's tough. That's a thing though, bro. Like, keep it real. I grew up in the hood. I mean, I wasn't a hood guy. I'm not a thug or a gangster, but I grew up in the hood. You look at where I'm from. You grew up in Melbourne. Say you live rough in the neighborhood. When you try to dissociate yourself away from certain elements, you tend, for some reason, in the community to be talked badly about, looked down upon, because you want to do something different. When that affects people's decision making, how do you tell them to stay strong, keep going, and push forward, and don't worry about all that foolishness?
You know what I tell them? Jesus had the same thing happen to him. And you know what Jesus do every day, still to this day?
Forgive us.
Every day.
That's real.
So I'm not gonna worry about what you say about me.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, I got to do for me. And when
Facts.
you're not around, you're not gonna pay my bills.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So at the end of the day, Jesus was crucified. However people want to say the Bible, whatever. The only thing we can go by is what we read.
Right.
So he was crucified.
Right.
But he still loves us. He still do the right thing by
Every
us.
day.
So I don't care what no man say, no woman say, whatever the case may be. It is what it is. You cannot do some of the same things you do when God blesses you.
To move up in the next level.
You can't do it.
Yes, right.
And I ain't saying leave your friends. I'm
Right.
saying, what I am saying is if they ain't willing to change and understand where you going and willing to change where you going,
Right.
then you have to have some type of separation.
Absolutely.
I'm still to this day at 49, 50 years old getting rid of friends because you know what I do every 6 months? I audit my friends. What value are you bringing in my life? And if you ain't bringing no value in my life,
I don't need
you
you.
can't be in my life. And that's my wife will tell you that. I just let one go last week.
That's big.
Period.
That's big, bro.
And we've been friends for 23 years.
It's big. It's big decisions.
Because
too.
very big decisions, but those man decisions. And I don't want that around my family. I got to have good energy, man.
Facts.
I got to have good energy.
Good vibes on it.
It's so important to me, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm willing to lose it all to have my peace. You
Talk
know?
about it, boy. Peace is everything.
Because I done lost it all before. I done lost it twice before. So losing money ain't nothing to me. I ain't even afraid of that because I know how to get it back. Just sit tight and let God do his work. He did it before, he'll do it again.
I feel
So I don't get caught up on money. I don't chase it. I don't do none of that. And for these youngins out here, when you get to the point where that money chasing you,
Yeah.
you'll know exactly what I mean.
Right.
You don't have to do nothing but just stand there.
And it's coming.
And your bank account, you're gonna look at your phone,
Yeah.
and your bank account gonna be ching, 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 from Zelle, from Venmo, from
feel
PayPal, from all that.
That's right.
You know, so you don't have to chase, you don't have to look at the next dude that got big rims and tires with all that music in the car, man. Them days are over with.
For real.
You know, this world is about a corporate look.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
This world is corporate look. And you know, the trends of yesterday ain't today.
Right.
And
Yesterday's
so
prices ain't today's
It
prices.
ain't gonna never be.
That's
I
right.
mean, you got right now the housing 10%. You know,
God, dog.
10%, and you around here with 400 credit score, and you worrying about what Jolene saying down the street. No, bro.
She got a 401.
Yeah. So she talking noise about you.
Yeah.
Y'all, you talking
the
noise
same
about her, and both of y'all got 400 credit score.
Yeah.
How about y'all come over here and talk to me so we
Right.
can get y'all on a different level, so now y'all can be talking about a different conversation.
Well, tell the folks where to find you and how to come and check that out, bro.
Absolutely. So with my credit repair, credit funding, business funding, all that good stuff, you can catch us at 1-800. Let me give you a website. It's www.850financialgroup.com.
Bet that up. 850financialgroup.com. Well, champ, it's a pleasure.
Yes.
And an honor, bro. You
Yes,
know, we
sir.
stand on the square together. We got some squares running around here, man. But I'm just grateful for as just the man-to-man conversation, your insight, your humbleness, bro. You're a very humble brother, which is clear to see. You know, you have a passion for what you do. You have a reason for what you're doing.
Definitely.
And I look forward to what you got going on, man. And if anything that we can do here at the Boss Move Studio, you know, In Da Kutt Podcast, man, we got your back. You let us know anytime you want to come through. You're more than welcome. So with that being said, we thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share down below. Leave us some good comments or bad comments. It don't matter. Let us know what you think. In Da Kutt Podcast. We out.